All right, and looks like it's time for our next run. We got Vanquish with decosmic.
Hey there, my name is. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Did I?
No, 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 no.
Okay,
You're
cool.
great.
All
Please
right,
continue.
awesome, cool. Yeah. So my name is decosmic, and this is Vanquish by Platinum Games, and directed by Shinji Mikami. I am joined today by my good friend Demonic Robots on commentary.
Hey there, everyone. How's it going?
So this game is pretty cool. It's a third-person shooter where we slide around on our knees and sometimes slow time and stuff. So, um, if it's all good with everybody, I think I will go ahead and get started, and we'll explain it as
Yeah,
we go. So yeah,
we're all ready whenever you are.
sounds good. All right, so 3, 2, 1, go. And so Demonic, if you want to take it away, man, go for it.
Yeah, sure. So basically, the plot of this game is that Russians have taken over a major space satellite with a Death Star laser and used it to destroy San Francisco. So now a bunch of Marines and a special super soldier named Sam from DARPA is coming in here to basically stop them from destroying another city. They're also going to be fighting against only robots, so there are no Russian soldiers here, and it's also kind of confusing if they're actually part of the government or they're part of a terrorist cell called I think not Stars or
Order of the Russian Star.
Order of the Russian Star. I knew it was something like that. So we're playing as Sam Gideon, who is not a Marine, but he is basically a super soldier with a super cool slidey McSteel armor that he's going to be using to hopefully defeat all the bad guys.
Yeah, so the first thing that you want to notice about this game is that we have like an active weapon swap that we're going to be using a lot to do things like reload canceling. We're going to be switching between like 3 main guns in this run. The first 2 that we have are the anti-armor pistol, which is why this category is called with DLC. This is one of the 3 DLC weapons that's in the game, and it's extremely really good weapon. We also have the assault rifle here, and then we are trying to find a sniper rifle later on. We'll get into why that is a little bit later. So we just got to wait for this ship to crash into us, and then we'll be on our merry way here.
Yeah, this game is very fast paced, but it does not open in that regards. There's a lot of points where we're gonna be going really fast for a short period of time, and then we're just gonna hit a brick wall.
Yeah, like right here. So we go into like these comm messages here. So a lot of this game takes place like, you know, or I should say all of this game takes place on the space colony. So you're going to see a lot of these like very like gray Gears of War-esque environments and everything. And there's a lot of sections where you'll be like a lot of start and stop, but it's a good time. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to do some melee dash cancels here, where we're going to cancel our melee dash there into a roll, or a melee attack there into a roll. We're going to hit this checkpoint here and then reset it, and we're going to get right into the fight. That's going to despawn the guys that are behind us. We're going to jump over this, take this guy out. So if you want to explain the slow-mo mechanic now, Demonic, that'd be...
Yeah, so under the weapons gauge, there is a bar that you're going to see right there that is going to be constantly going up and down. That is basically our main resource for the game that allows us to not only have a shield and take damage from enemies, but it also allows us to use a variety of Sam's skills, such as the slow motion. The slow motion is basically activated from doing a really sick dodge or from taking a certain amount of damage. So if you take too much damage, your suit goes into slow motion. This allows you to do a variety of things like aim better. It allows you to easily shoot grenades out of midair to do damage as well, and overall it kind of just allows you to aim a little bit more easily. It's also one of the main reasons that like this game is a console game, because it was also a mechanic to make it so you can actually aim with a controller.
Yeah, there's even like the you know, the weapon swap wheel kind of looks like a D-pad too. So
oh yeah,
design designed for controller. All right, so we're gonna take out these guys right here, these transports. These contain enemies in them pretty obviously, so we want to take them out so that we do not have enemies that come down into the fray with us here. And then we'll go and grab this upgrade cube here. We'll explain those in a little bit. We got to take down the boss here in a second too. All right, so here he is. This is the Argus core. It is one of the bosses that gets kind of reused throughout the game. This game has this thing where it really likes to reuse bosses. So we're going to hit it through its first phase there. And then we're going to be waiting on it to change forms. So this part right here, this trying to skip this phase here is totally RNG. I have to shoot its right arm enough times with the anti-armor pistol to completely sever it from the body, and then get on this turret here, and then hope that these waves of energy that come out do not hit me off the turret. So there's a lot of time lost there if that happens, so let's just hope that it doesn't.
You've had a lot of good luck in these so far from the marathons that I've seen, so hopefully it will continue here. All right, this is where we cross our fingers, everyone. Good on that first one.
There we go. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, good. And I got that. Okay. So, past the first hurdle there. Good. Excellent. Love to see it. Okay. So, now, like I said, you can do reload canceling in this game. That's how I was able to just sort of, you know, cruise through a lot of my ammo there in order to take down the boss's health really quickly. So something that you can do in this game is you can swap a weapon unto itself. This is mostly used on keyboard. On controller, you can only swap to and from weapons to do reload canceling, but on keyboard and mouse, on the first 2 slots, I should say, you are able to swap a weapon unto itself. What am I doing? There we go. All right, excellent.
Yeah, so that's another thing, is that because our dash uses our, I guess, our heat meter, we don't want to use it too much. So instead we will do that melee attack, which will allow us to move as fast as we can without using the meter. The melee attacks for all of the weapons are actually different, so depending on which weapon he's holding, sometimes they'll go a little bit faster. This is also him showing off what I was talking about earlier. If you shoot grenades out of the air while you're in slow motion, you will actually increase the, I think, the cone of damage that you can do with it in comparison if you just threw it normally.
There we go. Okay, cool. This guy right here. Okay.
Yeah.
So we gotta free these guys from their chains there. And then we can move on to the next area. This box right here, there are some boxes that I check for weapons. There's the sniper rifle. That's the one that I'm looking for. Excellent.
It's also worth noting that in this section of the game, we are being guided along with Robert Burns, who's basically the super Gears of War Marine guy. He was not very happy with us saving those Marines, but, you know, Sam is just like a good dude.
Such a good dude. And then here we go, take down these guys. This is definitely one of those like sections that's just like really shooty, so it's nice to practice your aim here and stuff. There we go. Try to take out these spider walkers here, because they can put up shields for the other enemies. Fortunately, since we have the anti-armor pistol, we can just kind of clear them out really quickly here. And then we gotta play upgrade cubes now. So the way the upgrade system in this game works is that it works on a series of stars and stripes. 3 stripes equals 1 star, and an upgrade cube will equal 1 star as well. So most weapons in the game have like 10-star upgrades, and you can, you know, upgrade a weapon by either picking up the upgrade cubes or picking up another version of the weapon on the battlefield if you have like full ammo for that weapon. So basically what we're trying to do throughout the entire early game really is just prioritize the anti-armor pistol, because we want to get a lot of its upgrades very quickly. I'm gonna use this grenade right here. Excuse me, thank you. And I'm gonna just use another one right here. Okay, cool.
It's also worth noting that the slow-mo like mechanic isn't like a button or anything like that. You actually have to do like very specific movements entered into the like whatever controller or keyboard you're using in order to activate it. So it's a little bit harder than Cosmic is making it look. But I know for my casual playthrough, it took me quite a bit of time to like get the timing and the mechanic down of it.
Here's the lock-on laser. This is definitely like this game, it was designed for a controller weapon. As you can see, like it's got these homing lasers that just, you know, lock onto enemies, and so we only really use it here in the game because these guys are just a pain in the neck to aim at, you know, sometimes from afar. But now we've got most of them down, so I'm just going to go back and grab my sniper rifle here. I took down more of them. These guys are just excellent. I just love it, man. All right, here we go.
Especially for the later game fights, it's pretty important to manage your weapons and your ammo and the upgrades for them. Thankfully, because this is the with DLC category, it does take away a lot of the RNG with the anti-armor pistol. However, there's still a small amount of it in the game when it comes to guns.
Absolutely. I'm gonna throw down this right here. EMP grenade there. I probably should have explained EMP grenades. This is also the game's failsafe for you. This is like the danger mode. It sends you into a slow-mo automatically if you get too low on health.
Yeah. And it's kind of like Halo, where if your shield is down, you can only take a couple of hits before you're dead. And so when you are overheating, you are very vulnerable, and you try not to be in that state as much as possible.
So there's two types of grenades in this game as well. There's the regular hand grenades, and then there's the EMP emitters. And because we're fighting robots, like Demonic mentioned, you know, EMP emitters are pretty effective against robots because it'll just short circuit them. So that even short circuited the tank there for a little bit. Also, this is the reason that we wanted the sniper rifle, is because it has the fastest melee dash cancel in the game. The fastest like melee dashes in general are like the lock-on laser and the LFE gun. After the sniper rifle, and then like the assault rifle.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice detail that most people don't know about with this game, but the melees are all just like unique ones, which is kind of funny because like, why can he kick with a sniper rifle in his hand, but he can't do it with a pistol?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what
if he used the gun in the melee, it would make a little bit more sense for them to be different, but it's just like, oh, I have a shotgun in my hand, so I have to punch now.
There's only one weapon where that is the case, and it's the disc launcher, which is like currently the only weapon we don't use in the run across like both categories, which is just funny to me. All right, so we're gonna blow up this high explosive here. These high explosive things are just like a system of checkpoints really that they want you to use. We're gonna reset this checkpoint here to bring the vehicle that's behind us closer up to the goal, and then we're gonna be able to roll up on these guys, these little walkers, and then just take them on out. Take out this right here. There we go. Excuse me. Thank you. Excellent. Oh. Nice. Smooth sailing. So, I guess we should probably talk a little bit about the story now, since we've been talking about a little bit of tech. So Burns does not really like Sam all that much, because Sam tends to, like, you know, he doesn't really take things too seriously. This is like his first mission. He tends to smoke sometimes on the battlefield too.
Yeah, but don't worry, he's had a lot of training in VR.
If only it were that easy, man. I just played Resident Evil 4 VR. It's like, well, now I'm ready for the zombie apocalypse.
Exactly. But there's also another couple of characters, one of which is Elena, who is essentially the comms for DARPA, which is basically means that she's working with Sam. It's also worth noting that the DARPA and the Marines both kind of have similar but separate goals, where Sam and Elena are trying to retrieve a hostage named, I think it's Professor Francois Candide, who essentially is the person here who made Sam's suit and also made the super powerful laser gun that like destroyed an entire city.
All right, there we go. So we're gonna just take out these guys right down here. There's a lot of, like, the way this game is structured, there's a lot of just like wave management in general, and sometimes like enemies kind of look a little samey compared to the environment. So really just understanding a lot of like the way that the waves are laid out is super beneficial, and just knowing exactly where to shoot all the time. Did I get an LFE drop here? There are like certain straps. Oh, okay, cool. I get to show off this strap then. Excellent. Okay, so this is the LFE gun. It's a weapon that will push enemies just like for forever. And we're going to throw a couple of grenades onto this drill that's coming up here. And then we're going to push all the enemies through each other and cause a ton of damage. There we go. Excellent. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, and if you guys couldn't tell, this game came out around the time of Gears of War 3, so there was a little bit of inspiration with this game.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because when you're playing this for your first time, Cosmic is kind of just like blasting through it. But when you're doing this for like your first playthrough, you're probably going to be taking a lot more cover and playing a lot more like Gears of War in comparison to what Cosmic is doing here.
Yeah, that was definitely how I experienced it, like my first time through, and it was only really through kind of like once I got into the speedrun scene, I kind of realized just how deep the game is and how many movement options there really are in it, just in total. It's a completely different experience playing it as a speedrun compared to playing it casually, and that's just really on a mechanical level. Like, there's not really a whole lot of like out of bounds in this run. There's not really a whole lot of crazy like like traditional speed tech. A lot of it is really just play the game fast, but it opened my eyes to a whole new world of this game once I got into the nitty-gritty of it. It's just it's crazy seeing, or it's wild seeing it from like the perspective of just sticking behind cover a whole lot now compared to just kind of flying across the battlefield, just taking everything out in the blink of an eye. All right, so this next fight here, there's two parts to this. There's like a wave where I'm gonna have to take out some regular bogeys or gorgies, as well as this guy right here. So I'm gonna lay down an EMP grenade there. Do that. Now I just gotta wait on an elevator to come up, and we will not do that. We will have the thing on us, and then the next boss of the game will be coming up, called the bogey. And I'm just going to have to make sure that I get the nice quick kill on him in order to skip a QTE. Excuse me. Thank you.
Also, we're playing Japanese, but Sam has some amazing one-liners throughout the game.
Yeah, we play in Japanese because a lot of these talking sections here are just shorter on Japanese. Not all of them, but most of them, which is enough justification to play in that language. I forget what other language is like pretty fast in this game, but the English dub is definitely a treat. Also worth noting that this guy's name is Sam Gideon, and then the Sam that's in Metal Gear Rising is called Jetstream Sam, and this Sam also has jet streams on his knees. All right, let me try and do this one right here. Okay, there we go. So I just clipped through the floor there by doing a melee shooting into the corner there, and then doing the slow-mo function into a melee attack. And that actually, at the FPS that I'm playing at, it just forces me through the roof here of this elevator. And now that means I'm going to be able to get out of this elevator a little bit quicker. So I will save a little bit of time setting up for the clear that's coming up.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame because this game actually has some pretty cool out of bounds, but unfortunately there just aren't a whole lot of them, and they don't save that much time. But they're still neat to see anyway.
Yep. Always got to go for this one. There we go. Very
nice. It's also worth noting to mention that the way that Cosmic can essentially have infinite grenades is that if he swaps between the frag grenade and the flashbang grenade, or the stun grenade, or I'm sorry, the EMP grenade, if he does it while he's in like the animation of throwing it, it will actually just not consume any grenade. So if he has one grenade, he essentially can just infinitely swap between them and use them as much as he wants.
Yeah, it's like if you have 0 of one type of grenade, you essentially just have one. You essentially have infinite of that type. So like right now I essentially have infinite hand grenades. This actually is used to mitigate a lot of the RNG that we encounter in terms of grenade drops, because that was really one of the big hurdles. Like when I started coming along, was like we really had to combat a lot of the RNG that was encountered in the run in terms of like weapon upgrades and grenade drops too. We also have like this really big auto-scrolling section right here. So like
this is a Platinum Games game,
yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, now after that like nearly 18 minutes of just breakneck speed, we now have like a 9-minute auto-scroller, or like 8.5-minute auto-scroller. So I don't know if there's like donations or anything that need to be like done now, or or what, but this is like a great time for anything that really needs to be done. This is like usually where I would take my bathroom breaks during PB attempts, because I'm just kind of sitting on this turret here and we're just kind of vibing.
No donations right now, but
sounds good. So Demonic, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying this very fun action. This is also again where the cover-based shooting comes into play on harder difficulties, is like, you know, when you're doing these kind of sections, because they really only give you a small amount of space to basically fight against them. But right now there's not a whole lot that they can do, but basically the story is again just right now, we saw the professor who we were trying to retrieve earlier, but I think some Marines at this point are in trouble and we're trying to go catch up to them because we got separated from Burns, or at least we're going to. And Sam is, you know, he's not going to be the, you know, one of those people that's selfish, right? He's the main character, he's the protagonist, he has to go save everyone.
Much to maybe his own detriment, but that's why he's the good guy.
I do want to talk about how I hate the trope of like a main character having some kind of protective helmet, and yet every single time that they are on the battlefield they continuously take it off to look cool. Just like, you know, just because you're not actively in combat doesn't mean a sniper can't take you out like that, Sam.
You know, I never really thought about that. I was like, that just looks cool. That's what I was like, yeah, that's fine.
Exactly, yeah.
Why not? Yeah. See, like now he just took it off again because now there's no enemies on the screen. Then it's gonna come back up, and then it's gonna disappear again for a second. Like
another game that does that is Dead Space with Isaac Clarke.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot about that. This is also after I shoot down this other guy. This is another good time to talk about the weapon swap exploit, which I was gonna go into a little bit earlier, but I felt like I was getting ahead of myself a little bit there. There's a lot going on. All right, so let's take out this dude right here. There he is. Okay. So basically, if you have a full ammo version of a weapon, you can use that to upgrade. You can pick up another copy of the weapon to upgrade itself. However, you can exploit the system by picking up a weapon that you don't have currently on you, picking up a full version of a weapon that's on the ground, and then picking up your old version. So then you get a free stripe upgrade from that. And so like with the anti-armor pistol especially, we do this like a few times throughout the run, and this essentially gives us like 1 or 2 free upgrade cubes throughout the course of the game, which is really nice. And there's some other weapons that you can do it with it, but the anti-armor pistol is really like the big one. We're sitting pretty too in terms of upgrades on that too, because we're at like 7 out of 10, which is really good.
And the good thing is, like, they help out quite a bit, but they also don't really cost time to take, because for the most part you're either earning them naturally through you just playing the game and going fast, or it's during these, like, you know, auto scroller sections where there's not a whole lot we would be doing anyway. So it's just a really like nice way to get a small little boost in the later half of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Is this the Halo? Looks like the
Halo. Again, this game is almost like, you know, if somebody was trying to remember what games were like between like 2005 and 2010, and this is just kind of what their brain came up with, just a mishmash of all of these ideas from like that PS3, Xbox 360 era of shooters. Which, like, not to say that like this game is bad or anything like that because of that, like quite the opposite, but it's just like this game definitely blends a lot of different games together.
Yeah, it's just like you want tropes, the video game, in terms of in terms of shooters, you got it right here. All right, so now we're gonna wait here because there's gonna be some transports that are gonna show up, because again we got to take them out with the sniper rifle. This is like one of the few sections where we actually use the sniper rifle for its intended purpose, you know, which is taking down dudes from afar. So they're gonna come out from like around here and then right around here, and we're gonna use the slowdown in order to take out the drivers on all of the transports. And like a lot of the wave management in this game, a lot of the faster clears do kind of depend on you just preventing enemies from, you know, approaching you or from spawning in entirely. So now they're all gone, and we're gonna hop on this turret again here. This guy's gonna show up. This guy's gonna show up like right here. And then once we take out these dudes, we will be good to go, because on casual, which is the difficulty that we're playing on, if you just kind of sit right here, no enemy's gonna be able to touch you. Like you'll just never go into danger state here. You're just totally safe. But this is also like the prelude to the cursed QTEs of this port. A lot of stuff is FPS affected in this game, especially in the PC port. So I have to like mash this QTE here as hard as possible, and I just barely make it every time.
Yeah, if you guys have ever played Resident Evil 4, there's one QTE in that game that's near the end of the castle level that is like famous for being kind of like glitched and not working, and you just dying no matter how hard you mash. And that's pretty much what a majority of the QTEs are in this game. Just basically that, but on every single one.
Yeah, there was even like, if you want to get an idea of like how badly everything is tied to FPS in this game, there was an article when this port first came out that was called Vanquish might be a little harder than you remember, because FPS like was directly increasing enemy damage output. So they've actually, you know, now made it so that enemies do less damage than they're supposed to. I think they have like an invert on that. But yeah, when the game came out, enemies, like when you were playing at 60 FPS, the game was designed for 30 FPS, but when you were playing at 60 FPS, they were doing double the damage, just because of how directly everything in this game and its engine is tied to the frame rate. So there's some wonky things that happen at pretty high frame rates in this game. We currently play on unlocked frame rate, which goes up to like 250 FPS. It's not really been an issue because we're such a small speed scene. And fortunately, like, hardware is getting really easy to run this game at higher frame rates with how good it's getting. But there's definitely some quirks to this port that you won't see in the original console version. We're gonna take these guys out here, and we just got to do a little bit more waiting. I promise y'all, this is the only auto scroller in this game that this long. After that,
I was gonna say, like, yeah, I was waiting for the caveat for that part.
Yeah, right. It's like this is the only one that's this long in the game. There's one that's like, I don't know, maybe a few minutes long, but after this, I promise it's mostly just going fast. We're not going to be subject to the whims of these carts.
Yeah, this is like you're like eating a bowl of ice cream and your mom comes over. Like you have like 3 or 4 bites. It's really good. Your mom comes over, yanks the bowl out of your hand and goes, "All right, you gotta wait 10 more minutes, a little Jimmy, before you can have more of it." And you're just like, "Come on, let me just finish it in one go, please."
All right, so here we go. We're gonna grab this right here, get the weapon swap.
Yeah. So now Sam is separated from Burns, our main bro. However, we were getting a distressed call from some nearby Marines, and Sam just like, I gotta go help him. And, you know, because he's the crazy badass with a super suit, you know, it's kind of easier for him to do it than other people. So he's just like, yeah, I got this, guys, don't worry.
That was also a rocket launcher, by the way, that we just launched at that dude. That rocket launcher is like right near that door, and it costs no time to just grab it and just not waste any of my anti-armor pistol ammo, so I just always use it. It's kind of a strat that got brought over from the no DLC category, which relies a lot more on rocket launchers, but it's a nice one. It's pretty dope.
Yeah. Right. Also, as you can see in the bottom right, his anti-armor pistol is already at 8 stars, which is really, really high.
Also, this QTE is like nothing. This QTE that's coming up here, I don't have to press anything. This is literally a fake QTE.
Ah, so it's The Last of Us.
And then we're gonna pierce the heavens right now with this drill. Super anime time.
You know, I really want a suit like his that turns me into a Beyblade.
Here we go. We're gonna take down this guy. I might have already messed this up. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with the that turret from earlier. you do want to try and destroy it without getting hit by the explosions that come out of them. But thankfully that one is a little bit easier than the one at the very beginning.
Yeah, especially because the anti-armor pistol now by like this point, you know, since we're just stacking up really high, we just got a lot of damage output that we just didn't have at the beginning of the game. And that's something that like you see a lot is like, especially in this category, a lot of the tool set is sort of funneled into the anti-armor pistol because of the way that it works and the way and how potent its upgrades are. In the no DLC category, we have a lot more like situational uses of weapons, but like this category in general is very like streamlined and just like very movement efficient, and it's a lot of fun because of that. Obviously you miss out on like a little bit of weapon variety here and there, but it's really cool to just see how like, you know, a weapon that was sort of added later to the game can just kind of take over. It's almost like a natural evolution of like the Halo pistol. It even has like a scope on it and everything too. It's just great. It's a great weapon. Also, we're going to push Burns into this door here. This is going to be a little bit of a AI manipulation here. So we're going to push him through a little bit, and then we're going to head all the way to the end of the section here, and we're just going to hope that the Marine buddies just teleport. There they are. They teleported all the way to the end. Excellent.
Funny enough, Gears of War actually has a very similar mechanic in it for the speedrun tech. Where like looking or not looking at certain allies will teleport them forward. So it's just kind of funny that this game is not a Gears of War ripoff, but it definitely has characters who are Gears of War ripoffs, and you can do the same exact thing as Gears of War. And
I actually didn't know that that was a case in Gears of War. Is that like true of like the whole series, or is it just like the first one?
I don't know. I think it's just the first one. I know for sure it's the Ultimate Edition. Because, you know, you can get teleports by just getting them like stuck in spots, and then they'll, you know, lose their pathing, kind of like Half-Life. But yeah, it's very like works similar like to what you just did there.
That's dope. Yeah. There's also gonna be like a little thing that I'm gonna do right up here where you see how like scattered out all these guys are. I'm gonna like push them to the edge of this area here just so that they get off a little bit sooner, because this game will tie a lot of events to where your allies are on the map. So if you just have if you have them closer to the objective, then you'll be able to activate the event a little bit sooner. It saves, you know, just a few seconds here and there, but it's nice for the added consistency, because sometimes these dudes will just take their sweet time.
Yeah, and you know, in a game where it's a really fast-paced environment like this, those seconds really do stack up if you do it like a couple of times during the run.
I'm just gonna slide into him as well to get him moving a little bit forward.
Yeah. Again, this game is very similar to like Devil May Cry, where like it's really hard to tell when they're doing really well or really poorly, unless it's like explicitly obvious of like them dying. But that's like where you'll start to notice a lot of like the differences between a good speedrunner for this game and a great one is like those little minute details of getting through sections just a few seconds faster than everyone else.
Excuse me. What are you still doing alive? I thought I killed you. Thank you. Okay, there we go. All right, excellent. This section right here, pretty hectic section here for movement too. This is like pretty much the section where you really see a lot of the movement come into play.
Yeah, the reason it's scary is because when you're dashing, you're obviously losing your shield because it's taking up the heat energy, and then if you melee near an enemy, it will automatically kind of melee in their direction, so that will probably throw you off if you melee too close to an enemy. So you got to kind of like balance between doing the melee to save your heat, but not doing it too close to enemies. But you don't want to get too close to enemies with a low heat gauge, because then they'll kill you, and it's just like a very hard balancing act.
So now we're gonna grab this thing from here, and then we'll be doing a checkpoint reset here to despawn the enemies. And once the checkpoint pops up, stop! Don't look at me like that. Oh no. Okay, excellent. Okay, so now we've despawned all those enemies up there, so we got to take out these guys down here so that the Marines can advance to the next section. There we go. I'm gonna grab a bunch of stuff here as well. Boom. And here we There we go. We're on 9. We almost have a fully upgraded anti-armor pistol, so that's pretty dope.
Especially this early on, yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, if you want to know how 2010s this game is, you basically can revive the Marines with a canister of Mountain Dew, and they just get right back up.
All right, I'm gonna explain this trick after I do it. It's another clip through an elevator here. There we go. Nice. And there we go. So basically, with just skated along that railing there and ended up at the next part of the level, and brought all the homies over there by hitting that checkpoint on the elevator. So now I can just head on up through this area here. Okay, there we go.
And don't worry about how he's able to slide upwards. It's fine.
All right, cool. There we go. All right, so this area right here, the first thing that we're going to have to do is take out all these guys, and we're going to make sure that we start throwing a bunch of grenades up top when a bunch of enemies spawn as well. I don't know where the heck they're all at. There they are. So now most of them should be dead. So we'll take them out. Shout outs to the radar system in this game. Where is he at? Okay, there he is. So now I'm going to use this rocket launcher here to kill this enemy, as well as destroy the spawning location there, so that normally there would be 3 like heavies that spawn out of here, but because I destroyed the spawning location, the third one will never spawn, and we just immediately get to skip to this fight.
The Scorpion was so annoying on my casual playthrough, and even now it's annoying in the speedrun as well.
But he's dead now, so nothing doing. Oh, cool. He gave me hand grenades too. Excellent. I love to see it. All right, this next strat here, I'm going to use the sniper rifle again to take out some enemies that are appearing from a small pocket, or like a small hangar door. And I'm going to shoot the backpack on one of them, and it's going to explode and just take out all 3 of them. There we go. So then, now that he's down, we're going to take out this boss right here. And we're going to force it through its phases by just doing these checkpoint resets as well. Because now you see, like, this gun is just, like, 3-shotting this boss now.
Yeah, and again, even though this is the easiest difficulty, it shouldn't be that easy. So this anti-armor pistol definitely does some work.
And we'll actually be able to upgrade it to max next chapter as well. There we go. And that's that. Okay. All right, so I don't remember what's going on in this point in the story. Now it's like, I forget where we actually fly over to. It's like,
again, the story doesn't really change much. The Marines are trying to take control of the facility again, and take control specifically of the weapons, because right now the reason that the other cities are not destroyed is because the order of the Russian Tsar's leader is basically just like, you have 24 hours, and so they are trying to beat that deadline. Also, there's a little gold statue over there, a little gold trophy that we can see back there, but unfortunately we can't get it.
Right there.
Yeah, over there.
It's like this game's like, I don't. What's the dude in like BioShock that you like shoot, or is it like the little statues in like the Resident Evil games? I forget their names. Like that.
Oh, I know what you mean. They're like the Mr. Raccoon in Resident Evil 2 remake.
That one, yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah. It was that before those things existed. It's like
Yeah.
the easiest comparison. There we go. Take out these guys up here. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, when it comes to the story of this game, it's just very much just the same beat of like, you have to go find this thing in this position. Oh, these people need help in this spawn. It doesn't really explain too much though. This game was definitely like expected to have a sequel, or at least another game in the series, and that has obviously not happened. So a lot of stuff is like very confusing. Like, why is it suddenly nighttime outside? There's like no real like reason for that on a space station.
thought they just turned off the lights, didn't they? That was like the whole. Was that the whole explanation?
I mean, I guess so, but like, I don't think it really did anything specifically, and I don't even know if it was the bad guys or the good guys that did it. I think it's just like a thing that happened automatically.
Wow.
Well, I was gonna say like
a smart
right. Those are some really powerful lights too. If they can just immediately simulate day and night. But it is gonna be kind of funny because later on in the game, it just like they just flick them back on, and it just like goes from like pitch black to super bright just immediately, like there was an eclipse.
There we go. All right, where you at, Burns? Here, bud. Thank you. Appreciate that, Burns. This, by the way, is the power of the fully upgraded anti-armor pistol. When you upgrade this weapon to max level, its firepower increases by like 50%. And it already obviously has super high DPS. So you multiply that by like, you know, like 5 or whatever. It's really strong. Absolutely wild damage.
Cosmic definitely wasn't kidding about it being very similar to the pistol from Halo. It is just as powerful.
That pistol doesn't mess around, dude. The one in Combat Evolved? No. Not at all. Alright, so again, this is going to be like another sort of like FPS quirk of this game coming up where... So not only is like... you know, like things like QTEs and like projectile paths for enemies and stuff affected by frame rate and a lot of other stuff are like, you know, are formerly enemy damage, but like your ally pathing is also affected by it. So there's a transport that's going to be coming down here, and the ally that's getting off of it, whether or not he is able to, you know, come over to the bridge here and help us out is going to be entirely dependent on the FPS. Normally, what I would do if I were on a PB attempt is like go into the menu and what's it called? And like change the, oh, here we go. You see how he just is walking in place right here. So the game is going to eventually unsoft lock itself, but because he's at such a high frame rate, and you know, because I'm going for RTA rather than time without loads here, and we time out like menuing to do like VSync and stuff here so that it is more consistent for this guy to come out. I'm just not going to do that here because it's just slower overall to do that.
And it's hilarious to see as well when it happens.
That is true. Yeah, it is pretty hilarious. Look at him, man. He's just trying.
There's just a treadmill on the back of it, to be fair.
You'll get there someday, buddy.
All right, so here's like 3 more grenade strats right here. So 3 drills gonna come on up. Boom. And then this tank's gonna come on out.
Now the real question is, were these tanks from the Order of the Russian Star, or were these just here on the space station like beforehand? Because on one hand, it would make sense that they were already on here, because I feel like it would be really hard to invade a space station with a tank. But on the other hand, they're also painted with the Russian colors, so...
There's a lot of logistical things that the Order of the Russian Star really should have worked out before they decided to take over the space station. I don't know how you would... Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like, 11 years on, I just didn't think about it. All right, then. So here's another teleport.
Giant holes in the plot.
More than there already are. So here's another teleport for these guys. So they're just teleported right on over to the elevator. And we can just push Burns right up to the door here. Get him on there. Come on in, guys.
You know, I think this really shows the strength of that DARPA suit. The fact that he's able to push probably somebody who's a 300-pound man wearing 200 pounds of gear, just like he's nothing. That has to like require a little bit of strength there. You can also notice that sometimes when Cosmic is crouched into cover, he's able to light up a cigarette. Yeah, Sam is a smoker, which Burns doesn't like, but there's actually a intended gameplay mechanic regarding it, where when you use that cigarette, it actually draws enemy aggro. So if you're under fire on some of the harder difficulties, it's really good to use, because then the enemies will start shooting at the cigarette because he throws it instead of at you.
There we go. Cool. And it's also, that actually ended up getting carried into another game called Ultra Kill, which is like another really, really good game where you slide around on your knees and shoot dudes. Very, very, very cool indie game that drew some inspiration in terms of mechanics from this game. So really cool to see like this game's like, despite what a sort of like sleeper hit this game was, it's still cool to see its influence, you know, to this day.
Yeah, this is definitely, you know, a very much a platinum game of just there is a hardcore dedicated like fan base that very much sees this as a cult classic.
Absolutely. This is also one of those points in the game where like you sort of just outpace what's intended. So like you see right here, I'm just kind of chilling. And this is just because like the game doesn't anticipate you clearing out all these enemies this fast. So you're kind of just left to sort of look at the scenery for a little bit while the game plays out whatever else it's going to do. Fortunately, there's an upgrade cube right there, so that's kind of cool. Just going to use that. So like after you grab all the upgrades for the anti-armor pistol, the next best thing to upgrade is the assault rifle, because that's like your secondary gun. That's the gun that's going to, you know, do a lot of the fodder work on enemies. And while it doesn't like make a huge amount of difference on damage, things like, you know, fire rate or magazine capacity, overall damage that your overall amount of ammo that you can hold. Excuse me. Stop shooting at me. Okay, that's fine. All right. Knew I was in a bad position here. All right, there we go.
So this also has another bad reason to take damage, is because you are forced to use the slowdown and you have to use the entire gauge, which is definitely very frustrating. Oh no. All right, we're good.
There we go. Yep. It's gonna be a lot of time loss here, but it's fine. Nothing crazy. Excuse me, can I leave? Thank you. All right, excellent.
The game just thought you were having so much fun in that section that it didn't want to let you go.
And now, after we've just been, you know, after we're done just fighting on a collapsing highway, we're now in the stealth section of the game, where we have to shoot down like a bunch of lights and just sort of watch out for unsuspecting enemies. This is like another one of those sort of like dedicated donation sections of the game. There's just really not a whole lot going on, so if there's anything else also needs to be taken care of in terms of shout outs or anything, whatever else you need to do for the event, now is a great time.
No donations or anything like that right now. I was taking a look. We're pretty good on we've met a lot of our incentives as well. Don't forget there are shirts, and also don't forget to donate. But
don't forget to stay hydrated too.
Yeah, definitely stay hydrated.
Yeah. I can give you a quick little fun fact here. So if you guys don't know, space is a very expensive endeavor. So when they go to space, they really don't want people, you know, bringing too much they don't need to bring. It costs about $10,000 for every single pound brought into space. And I'm just wondering how much of government money Sam wasted by smuggling in those cigarettes. Because there's no way that they like cleared him for those, but he has this nicotine addiction. So I'm just thinking, like, he probably cost the taxpayers like $30,000 or $40,000 to bring up a carton or something like that.
Wasn't there an astronaut who like snuck a sandwich onto the rocket with him or something like that? Like,
probably. Astronauts sneak up a lot of stuff. They're kind of badasses. I do know that there was also 2 astronauts that got secretly married and didn't tell NASA until it was too late to replace them. So they basically were the first married couple in space because they're a bunch of dirty liars.
Amazing. Legendary.
Also, just want to point out, if you see that little eagle icon on the top part of the gun wheel, that means that the anti-armor pistol is completely maxed out. So it's going to have the max damage and it's going to have the max magazine size. which are the main things that are affected by the upgrade system.
I totally forgot to shoot that dude because I was looking at something. I was like spaced out. Yeah.
Another thing you might have noticed is that under the minimap there is a score. The reason for that is this game is actually kind of designed to be played all at once. Like there's not really any sections where there's like significant time gap and time jump between the level before and level after. So it basically tallies up your score and tries to give you like a score at the end, like one of those like old arcade games, only kind of more modernized. So if you are going to play this game, I would honestly recommend just playing it in one shot. It's a pretty short game, but it's designed to be played through multiple times.
Yeah, a lot of replayability on this one. The once you get to like the hardest difficulty, that's where the game kind of like gets turned on its head, because the God hard difficulty, you can't actually upgrade weapons, and the amount of like slow-mo and like shield basically that you have is much more limited. So it's definitely a challenge. Definitely like a completely different game almost.
Thankfully, we are almost at the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like really like the last section like this too. It is really nice though to have, like, you know, when you're doing PB attempts and you're kind of like on a really good pace at this point, it's really nice to get this section here that's just sort of like canned, and you can just kind of collect yourself and just prepare for, like, you know, the second half of the game and just be prepared to execute.
Yeah, even though there are a lot of auto-scroller sections, they're actually, like, when you're playing it casually, pretty well placed for you to get your break in.
Take this out right here. Alright. Excuse. There we go. Alright. Ah! Excuse me. Okay. Cool. Alright, so this next boss here is called the Buzzard. And fun fact about this boss is that technically we could one cycle it in slow-mo, but in slow-mo the rest of the world gets slowed down, obviously, because it's slow-mo. So this includes the monorail that we're on this, you know, on this rail. And so if we use slow-mo here, it will actually cause the transport to take longer to get to our end goal. So we just take this guy down normally, and then we can just kind of sit here a little bit longer. Again, you know, you're really just like outpacing the game at this point. So like the game expects you to not be this totally decked out in terms of upgrades and just, you know, three-shot the boss and then have to sit here waiting. Usually, like in a casual playthrough, you'll be like much further up the rail because you'll be using, you know, probably less upgraded weapons and all that fun stuff. So
also, if we want to hear a fun fact, Elena is basically the Cortana of this game. She's the one that like hacks into things and helps you out and guides you along and all that stuff. The voice actress for this character actually voices also now a AI voice in Halo Infinite. So she went from being budget Cortana in this game to being budget Cortana in Halo.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember where the VA for Sam ended up. So he did a good job.
Hold on, I got my my Googling skills here. I can pull out really quick.
Let's go. Love to see it. And then now we're gonna head through the area here, and we're back on the battlefield here. And so now we're gonna take down these guys. Demonic, do you want to explain like what? Because we're at this thing called the Creon now. Do you want to talk about what the Creon is? We'll be going like in one chapter or so. One section of the chapter.
So the Creon is basically a gigantic mobile battle unit, which essentially is basically going to be used by the Order of the Russian Star, and they're going to use it to destroy some very important capital buildings. So now our actual mission has been kind of put on pause, and we're going, hold up, we need to get rid of this before it destroys the entire space station, because there's still, like, I think civilians and other important people on this place, because it was basically a civilian outpost beforehand. So we're like, hold up, we need to stop this thing. Unfortunately, it is a giant, massive turtle like moving building, so it's going to be one of those things where we need to kind of get on the inside of it in order to destroy it.
Yep. And you saw there, I just very quickly swapped my graphics to VSync, so now I'm on 60 FPS. And this is because the tanks in this area, they can get stuck at the very back of the area and soft lock you, to the point where you can't shoot them with the turret. If you play on 60 FPS, this does fix this problem. So, you know, again, when we decided on a loader mover to be made for the game, I did want to make sure that we had the option to time out, you know, graphics options here because of stuff like this. Because pretty much everything in this game is tied to FPS. When I go to change my graphics back, I'll tell you back another like fun fact about what's tied to FPS as well. There we go. Take these guys down right here. Here's the tanks here. This game really loves its turret sections too. It really does.
Also, you're asking about where Sam's voice actor went. He has gone absolutely everywhere.
Oh.
Looking at his IMDb page, he has everything in here. Gears of War 3, Tekken, Daredevil, Halo 5. He definitely does a lot of work. So
that's good. That's very good to hear. Also, menu speed in this game is tied to FPS. So when you're going to change your graphics back, that is the speed at which you do that is affected by your lower FPS. It's great. Like, I don't know if I think I'd be better off just naming things that weren't tied to FPS in this game. All right, so now we're gonna take down the Creon here, and then we will actually talk about why I picked up this shotgun a little bit earlier here, because we've seen that I've been kind of rocking with the assault rifle pretty much the whole time.
I also believe this is where we're going to meet a familiar face as well, if I remember correctly.
That is true. I almost forgot about that. Thank you. All right. So once we head to right over where that camera panned to, we will talk about who is here with us. This is also a forced overheat section because we will be getting very close to the Creon's engines, and that will make it so that, you know, Sam's suit is just going to overheat. So we're just going to kind of have to roll on through, hope that we stay out of danger. But we're totally safe because Shinji Mikami, the director of Vanquish, is here with us on the battlefield. Right there, man. Excellent.
You know, I'm willing to bet people didn't expect the director of like Resident Evil to be the one to actually like make a game like this. But oh look, we actually my favorite part of the game.
We get to skip the auto scroller. We get to do a nice little roundhouse kick dance on top of this railing here.
So if you guys don't know what he did, this is the same way that he's clipped out every other time. Basically, he does that like dash swipe up melee attack to get out of bounds, and then he will continuously balance himself right on that like little beam in order to get over, because that actually has proper collision for it. So you kind of have to be careful at the angle you're taking those, otherwise you will fall off. Also, we get my favorite enemy.
The unknown, yeah, he's dead. We just threw an EMP grenade on him, and then you can actually charge the melee on the shotgun. So that's what we did there, is we just used that to just take out a ton of his health. It really, that melee attack really helps against that enemy. We used to just kind of, you know, fire away with the anti-armor pistol, but now that we've figured out how to swap, you know, like certain fixed pickups, we're also going to reset checkpoints here a lot to make sure that these tunnels here that Sam calls an amusement park are totally consistent with our movement. So we're going to do this. Excuse me. Thank you. But there's a bunch of like fixed drops for guns in the game, and so we've actually mapped out some more of those to include, you know, swapping out the shotgun for a couple of boss fights for certain guns. We're gonna do this. I don't know if I should go for the IL strat here. Probably. I
believe in you.
Okay, cool. If you believe in me, that's all I need, bro.
All right, let's see.
All right, so the IL strat here, we're gonna activate this elevator here, and then when we kind of pop around the corner, like right at this bend, is where we're gonna try and clip out of this elevator, and it's just going to allow us to walk along the rest of the elevator there. So let's see. Yep, nice. Cool.
Amazing. Let's go.
Nice. Cool. So, I'm gonna grab this right here. And then we're going to do this right there. Y'all can eat that. Cool. Oh, and then we got to show off another sort of improv strat right here. So the LFE gun, like I mentioned, likes to push enemies off of cliffs. So we're just going to use it to push these guys right off the cliff.
Amazing.
Low-key, that's like one of my favorite strats. But you only get it if the LFE there spawns. All right, so here we go. We're just going to toss these down. Right into the pit. Excuse me. Thank you. All right, cool.
Yeah, I also do want to mention that a lot of these animations are like based off of specific movements that you're able to do consistently, but the animations for this game really do change a lot. They can change the arc of your grenades, they can change how you're moving, they can change the melee hitbox. So overall, it's really important to know like what kind of slide that you're doing, because even when Cosmic is sliding, like the different sliding animations, even though it's the same functionality, actually changes the speed of the slide. So there's a specific one that you want to get versus another one.
Yeah, there's the slide on the knees is like generally slower than the slide like on his side. So like this one right here is the faster animation. Oh my goodness. Oh no, whoa. All right. Unfortunate. And here we go. I also have a little treat for chat coming up in this next section.
I'm excited.
I want everybody to get their best dance emote out. Because it's nice. It's just nice.
I always like nice stuff for Twitch chat. I think Twitch chat's been pretty good.
You just kind of walk up on these dudes and they're just vibing, dude. They're just jamming.
Man, if only all of the robots could be like this, you know, just have a party, have a good time, enjoy each other, not trying to murder each other and kill them in the most painful ways. What's that? Oh my god.
Look, man, had to be done. All right.
I'm so hurt. I can't believe what I just saw. That was horrific. Look at their body parts. They're just raining down from how large of an explosion that was. Oh wait, that's just a boss. All right, we're fine with them. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. And he's dead. Excellent. That was another thing again where we swapped out the shotgun there in order to do the melee, the charged melee strat to unknown. Normally we would have just like thrown a grenade down, but you can actually save a little bit of time there because you don't have to take him out fully with your gun. You can just, you know, once he drops down immediately, you've already done the damage to him a ton, and then you throw down an EMP grenade and finish him off with the anti-armor pistol. Now we got to do a bunch of QTE mashing, and then we are on to the next area where we can finally see a change of color palette. All right, there we go. Cool.
Yeah. Also, the story thing there was that Sam was going to sacrifice himself by using his suit to supercharge and explode the turtle thing. That's exactly what he does when, yeah, exactly. He uses it to destroy it by like removing its power source. And just as he was about to make that noble sacrifice, we had Burns fly in there, pick us up, and take us out. So now we are back on track now that we don't have that very large distraction to deal with. And we also landed a park where there's actually, you know, scenery and green and trees.
Go. All right. There we go. Excuse me. What are you doing here? Thank you. Excellent. Okay, there we go. This is like a lot of this area is a little bit in terms of the strats. It's very much just kind of like picking apart the enemies here that sort of show up. At this point, we've kind of like fallen into a groove with apparently not actually. Apparently I've made a liar out of myself because I got hit by that.
It was a valiant effort.
True. I think maybe it was valiant effort. I'd like to think so. But this is about the point where you've like fallen into a groove with, you know, having all of your upgrades down, and we're just kind of like, you're kind of just cruising to this point and really just hoping that, you know, the grenade drops and everything don't make a fool out of you, so you can have a pretty wild time. But there is going to be another area here where we're going to try and I don't have infinite grenades for the hand grenades here, so I'm just going to kind of have to throw like a couple of them here, and then we're just going to have to take out the rest of the enemies, you know, like manually. Normally what I would do here is if I had infinite grenades at the ready for the hand grenades, I would just kind of start chucking them, and that would be, you know, all she wrote. However, we're just going to take these guys down and out here.
Yeah, and the main reason that Cosmic isn't just constantly spamming grenades is because they're actually not that much faster in a good like chunk of situations, due to the fact that A, they can be really hard to actually hit in the right way, and B, it's also very difficult to use them quickly, because usually you're going to want to slow-mo time, and that actually just slows down your RTA. So it's typically only when like you have a good majority of enemies like in an area that you know you're going to hit with a grenade.
Absolutely. So this turret section here is a little bit different from the others because we're going to be doing a lot of checkpoint resets, not only so that we can despawn enemies and force the fight to its next wave, but also because we're going to get like some free upgrades from the boots there for the assault rifle, as well as every time we reset the checkpoint, it's going to refill the turret. So that's how we're able to take out those transports immediately with the turret. And then we're going to do this to force it to its next phase. We also get another upgrade point here, and then we can just kind of head to the elevator, and we've got to make sure that Burns gets here without getting interrupted by like these guys right here, or this guy.
Yeah.
And you're gonna say, oh,
yeah, I was gonna say this is like a pretty important story part of the game in this section, where basically Burns is like, we're gonna leave the Marines behind, and Sam is really upset about this, but Burns kind of just goes like, hey, this is what they signed up for, they know what they were doing. So this is like a point of contention between the pair during a majority of the storyline, where Burns is just like constantly sacrificing and leaving people, and Sam is just like, bro, that's like not very cool.
Gotta say, Sam's kind of on the money.
Yeah, it is also the fact that he's like, yeah, it's also kind of also noticing like that Sam is not part of the military, so he's probably the only person on this entire space station that doesn't actually have to listen to Burns, because he's part of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which means he gets all the really cool, fancy, expensive tech gear and kind of just gets to play around with it, fighting Russian robots, which I think is a pretty cool job, honestly.
That's pretty dope, yeah. Oh, here we go. Nice, excellent. Here's the buzzard again. Oh, there he is. Okay, jeez. I lost track of him for a second there. What are you doing, dude? You spawned like really early, sir. What are you doing? My goodness. Okay, anyway, so he's down. We're gonna do this cool movement here again.
Some more melee dashing.
I gotta say, like, the movement in this game just feels like really good once you like know where you string it all together and everything. Just, it's very satisfying. There we go. All right, so this is actually the last Argus core fight of the run and just of the game. So there's gonna be 2 checkpoints that activate here. So here's the second one. Once the second one activates, we're gonna reset. And then this guy's going to come on in. I didn't mean to do that. Cool. So then once he comes in, we want to make sure that he's not shy. He actually looks at us. There we go. So now we're going to take him down. And like we've been saying, now that we're kind of stacked up, this anti-armor pistol is just going to kind of tear through it. You remember at the beginning of the game, it took a lot of shots to take down just that first phase. And here it just goes down in 3. So then we're going to just, this is going to be a repeat sort of the fight that we saw earlier back in chapter 2. Or we're just going to shoot out this dude's leg here. Excuse me, sir. Can you? Thank you. Cool. And here he goes. There is a slight difference, though. There we go. All right. So this guy has a desperation attack. So I'm just going to kind of point it. I'm just going to stand underneath him and just kind of let it rock because I didn't really know where it was going this time around. And then we can just kind of head on out. Because if I had actually gotten hit by that desperation attack, that giant beam that came out, we would have had to do that entire fight all over again. That would have cost like a whole minute. So
yeah, I think that happened to me on my casual playthrough and I didn't know about it. So that was very fun to be like, I did it. Oh, no, never mind.
Well, also these dudes that like just kind of roll out like droidekas from the Phantom Menace, they just, if you stand at a distance like this, they just blow up. It's very, very convenient. I appreciate them taking one for the team. And now we're going to be able to take down these guys. They're actually locked in this animation here. So we're just free to take them down. Fire at him with the anti-armor pistol. He's going to turn around like right now, I think. Okay, never mind. He's dead anyway. There we go. Nice. Also, this is the only comm section that we can actually skip in the game here. Because there's a checkpoint that happens right here. So if you reset the checkpoint, for whatever reason, it takes place after the comm ends. So you just get to skip that. I really wish there were a lot more sections like that too. It would be really nice to skip a little bit of the talking. We're also going to do another checkpoint reset here in order to take Burns and the other Marines down with us while we sort of lay waste to the rest of the Romanovs here. These big dudes, as well as sniper rifle here. Take these guys out here. Excuse me, thank you. That guy's
It's also
dead.
kind of impressive because Cosmic has actually been holding on to the anti-armor pistol since like the very beginning of the game. For the most part, you get the anti-armor pistol pretty much like not every like mission, but every like big kind of level change. But it also just gives you it at the very beginning of the game, which is just kind of like stupidly overpowered to do. Like the thing is, like with between DLC and no DLC, there's not that big of a difference in terms of the time itself. However, there is a significant change between damage output and RNG when you are playing without DLC.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only like, I think there's only a couple of minutes difference now between the two categories, and it's like the way you get to that result is like entirely different. So it's really cool to see like how the game has evolved in that manner. You know, to accommodate those two types of things. And usually, like, you would look at that and be like, oh, there's only there's only 2 minutes difference. What's the big deal? And it's like, there's a really big difference, actually, because
oh yeah,
the anti-armor pistol just really does so much. Also, I got to make sure I take my time a little bit here, just because if you actually end up in this next area a little bit too fast, then the game will soft lock.
Yeah, this game doesn't have a huge amount of soft locks, and when it does, it's typically easy to fix, but still very annoying.
Yeah, you just don't want it to happen. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do a
favorite
cool
boss fight
too. Yeah, I'm gonna do a cool strat here because I just like doing it. So
have any of you ever seen Terminator 2? Ooh. Well, this is gonna look very familiar. Yeah, it wasn't obvious. Sam clearly wrestled in high school.
All right, there we go. That guy's down. What's up?
Oh, I was just gonna say. So now some big story stuff has happened. Unfortunately, that explosion completely destroyed like a nearby station oil tank thing. So it blew a huge hole into the space station, and now the entirety of the whole colony is currently depressurizing. So the goal of Sam and the Marines here is to get into the safety bunkers, which have their own like their own oxygen, their own atmosphere. So what it does mean, though, is we get actually some kind of cool areas in this section where we're basically kind of quote unquote 0G because we're constantly moving, but like still attached to the ground. But yeah, so some very bad stuff has happened because we fought that boss. So now we're going to try and avoid, suffocating to death.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think really Stan's a fan of that. Like, I know he's a smoker, but he still likes to breathe.
There's those guys. Excuse me, gentlemen. All right. A lot of these enemies are just sort of like water before we get to the last fight with Unknown. Honestly, I used to take a little bit of time to explain the Unknown fight, but like ever since incorporating the new like shotgun strats and everything, Unknown's really on the screen for maybe a total of like 15 seconds in the entire run. Here we go.
It's kind of a shame because whenever like you used to watch Unknown, it was really funny because it's like a little like tiny like funny looking robot that would like just run around like it's, you know, like a headless chicken. But sadly we don't see that with the new strategies anymore.
And now my man Degrassi is gonna unlock the door for us.
This game pays tributes to Shinji Mikami, the creator of the game, and Degrassi, one of the hit teenage dramas from Nickelodeon.
For some reason, like it's an interesting reference. I still don't understand it. We are actually in the last chapter of the game now, too, coming up on the last like 3 sections.
Yeah. We also were able to successfully enter the bunkers where we have oxygen again, but Burns basically let a lot of people die. And at this point in the cutscenes of the game, we kind of learn that Burns is working individually with the president of the United States. And it turns out that, you know, surprisingly, we are not the good guys like the game has been implying the entire time.
Here's a checkpoint reset to bring us right into this fight quickly. We're going to take down the buzzard. You just see its health just sort of melt here. We're going to wait for the checkpoint reset. Despawn a bunch of the enemies there. And we're just going to wait on this guy right here. Excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, three sets of 2 Gorgies are going to come on out here. Excuse me. Thank you. Fortunately, now I can also refill my anti-armor pistol here. And then we're going to head on up through this way. Ooh, that was smooth. Nice. Okay, excellent. That movement is really hard to get correctly because normally that bubble of electricity there will just kind of knock you backwards. But if you can get the movement there correctly, you just move right on through. So that always feels really nice to get. Right. So now, also like the last turret section in the game, so that's cool. And we'll take these guys out on the bridge. And here we just kind of have to protect the Marines while they're at the end of the bridge, and we'll just be taking out some enemies with the turret. Fortunately, like I said, it is the last turret section of the game. More Droidicas there. All right, the walkers here showed up. This guy is going to be taken down. This guy right here.
Yeah, I really wonder how intentional the Star Wars enemies are like supposed to be.
I really have no idea. It's like I guess that there's enough overlap in some ideas with you know, like sci-fi or whatever, where it's like I don't even remember where I was going with that point, but I mean you're probably correct. It's probably pretty intentional. But I have no idea how.
Yeah, this game is very much a mishmash of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's probably where I should have gone with that, yeah.
It's both originally like lame, but the more you think about it, it's actually pretty cool how many like inspirations the game creators took from other things and meshed them together so well. Because normally when other games try to do this, it's glaringly obvious and like not very good looking. However, in this game, they definitely did a very nice job with like putting all these ideas into a crock pot and making something delicious with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so this is the last fight with the Crystal Viper here as well. Again, this is like a boss that really shows up for like 10 seconds in the run or something. So it definitely kind of screams of cut content because it's supposed to be like the Order of the Russian Star's greatest assassin. But they don't mention him at all until, you know, a couple of chapters ago or a couple of sections ago where you fight him for the first time. And it's like, okay, where I thought he was like, if he's like really feared, why have I not heard about him until now? It really just screams to me like, hold up. Alright. Oh. Okay, there we go. Nice. Excuse me. Where did you go? Oh my goodness. I thought he went over to that other dude. That's fine. Cool. Alright, excellent. Not the cleanest Crystal Viper fight on the face of the planet, but
it works.
Serviceable. Yep, pretty serviceable. And now he's dead. Alright, so now little last bit here, couple of sections left. I was like, I accidentally went into like no DLC muscle memory there, because the shotgun is really the big damage output in no DLC. So I started like trying to hammer away at the Crystal Viper with shotgun, and I went, oh wait, this isn't upgraded at all.
But here we go. We come to the plot twist of the game. It turns out that Burns was a bad guy. So he was actually working with the president of the United States, who was working with the Order of the Russian Star, who was trying to take over the Russian government in order to take over the country. We basically gave them this super weapon. They went, thanks, and then aimed it directly at us. So now we need to not only do we need to stop the Russian Star from blowing up another city, but now we need to stop Burns as well, and his merry compadre band of Marines who we have been fighting with the entire time. And they just immediately turned on us. The super soldier who has been killing thousands of the Russian soldiers on our own. There's like, yeah, we're gonna get him. Don't worry.
No problemo, Chi. Okay, I need to grab. Oh my gosh, hold on. I need to grab this before he shifts faces.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Also,
go ahead.
Yeah. Also, Professor Francois, the guy who made the suit and the guy who we were trying to get after the entire time and was in maybe one cutscene before this, yeah, he's dead now, unfortunately, because of yours truly. But this is actually kind of a cool boss fight. We're actually just like pretty much chasing down Burns in order to catch up with him and stop him. But you can basically just like kill him before you get to the final cycle, and it makes him a one-shot at the very end. And it's really easy to actually do all the damage you need to do in this section because they give you a lot of time.
If he would let me do it. Excuse me. Excuse me, video game. Thank you. Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so now we should be good. This is, by the way, this is the true and final last auto-scroller of the game. So, gamers rejoice.
5 minutes before the end, but still, we're finally at the last one.
All right. And a QTE here. So now Burns is a little bit ahead of us. So, and normally you would have to fight him in this area, regardless kind of his health bar. But the easiest way to force him through this area is to sort of just slide on up to the door and then plop in EMP emitter right at his feet. And then it'll just force the next phase to happen. I was, okay, there we go. Cool. Oh, excuse me. Oh boy. All right. Okay, excellent. There we go. Very nice.
We're fine. We're fine.
Love to see it. Love to see it. Yeah, absolutely. I probably did that bad. That's fine though. Where's he at? Here, bud. Where are you going? Where are you? What the heck? Okay, there we go. Excellent.
Awesome. And there we go. Burns has been defeated, but at the very end, he decides to side with us. So not only does he let us escape, but he also kills all of his fellow Marines and blows himself up in a sacrificial, like, stopping them from taking over. So now, Sam can fight the final boss slash bosses. So we went from a good guy to a bad guy to a good guy in about 5 minutes.
Oopsie. Okay, here we go. That's fine. Best QT in the game. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers time.
Oh yeah. So the gimmick of this fight is you have to fight two of them at the same time. One of them is the person you need to kill, and the other is just a robot. So it's always going to be the one that you kill first is always going to be the robot, and the other one's always going to be the actual person we're trying to defeat.
All right, here we go. EMP grenades and boom. All right, so time is going to be coming up in about 30 seconds or so. It's just going to be like one final QT, and then we're going to have to take out the final bogey here with one last shot because the game decided to switch at the last moment to first person mode for these final QTs here.
On the bright side, we get Sam being a total and complete badass here, though, at the very end.
True. Here we go. Bam. All right.
Nice.
And time. So that was Vanquish, any percent casual with DLC. Again, my name is decosmic. I want to thank Power Up with Pride very much for having me. And thank you very much, Demonic, for joining me on commentary, dude. Appreciate everybody that tuned in and watched. I hope y'all had a great time. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of the event. Good luck to the rest of the runners in the event as well. Demonic, you have anything you want to say, man?
Yeah, if you want to catch Cosmic doing more runs like this or Devil May Cry, check him out at twitch.tv/decosmic. If you want to catch me do a couple of runs, I do some very similar third-person action games as well. Twitch.tv/demonicrobots. I got you covered, bud.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. This is why you're here. The story beats and the plug when I'm too tired. All right, awesome.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much, Power Up with Pride, though, for having me. It was a blast. Awesome game.
Yeah.
I love this game, and it's a great speed run. So it was really cool to show it off for y'all.
Great run. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back. We're gonna get our next run going here in a moment. Last Kingdoms with double.